Thank you very much for the introduction, Paul, and thank you everyone for here in Perth and, of course, across the borders in Queensland. And I'm here to present what is probably one of the best undeveloped gold projects in Australia. We've got over 3 million ounces of resource. We're targeting production of about 135,000 ounces per annum, and our DFS is on track for the March quarter of next year. Of our 3 million ounces in resource, we've got over 800,000 ounces of mining reserve. And that's one of the best out of any of the junior developers. And when you start looking at the grade of that reserve, we'll have an average long grade of about 2.6 grams a tonne. So we're definitely one of the highest grade producers. We've got a total production target of about 1 million ounces. And we expect to convert the majority of that to reserve as part of our DFS due in the March quarter of next year. All-in sustaining costs at $1,220 an ounce mean at the current gold prices there are significant margins to be made here at Bardoc. We've got relatively low pre-production capital requirements of $140 million Australian. That really does put us well funded now. We've got 30 million in the bank, and we've got the ability to be able to fund all of our final DFS studies, as well as allocating monies to pre-production development works that will commence later next year. We've got a number of significant investors on the register now. We raised $24 million back in July this year, targeting a number of tier 1 investors. We had a number of funds come in from Asia and America, really focusing on funding the project into development. We had a large retail shareholding before the last raise, and hence getting these strategic investors on board now gives us the confidence to go full steam ahead to build this project. And we've got a board and management team who can do it. Most of you are aware and very familiar with our chairman and 2 of our directors, John Young and Neil Biddle. Tremendous amount of success with Pilbara Minerals, taking the project all the way through the exploration phase and into production and project development. Rowan Johnson's the mining engineer who brings the mining finesse to the board. And what we've focused on the last 12 to 18 months is building an executive team with an operating experience within the Kalgoorlia region who know how to operate projects and who know how to get projects up and running and into production. Myself, I spent 17 years before joining Bardoc living and working in Kalgoorlia. I was a former general manager of the Paddington Gold Mine, making a number of improvements to drop the debt of that and raise the production levels of that operation. My COO, Andrew Francis, has worked with me at multiple operations across the goldfields. We have a history of going into projects and turning them around and getting them making money again. Helen Chernoff is our environmental stakeholder manager, who again has worked at multiple operations with us, getting projects approved, getting mining projects approved, and engaging stakeholders and getting them over the line. We recently employed Mark Roberts as a project manager who's ex-GR Engineering and was a senior process engineer with them and looked after such builds like Gascoyne Resources, building their project and getting it up and running on time and under budget. That rounds off the experience within our management team to really be able to focus on the mining, the environmental approval, and now we've got the metallurgy and project construction backgrounds. So 2020 has been a big year for us. In the midst of COVID-19 backdrop, when everyone else has slowed down, we've gone full steam ahead. We released our pre-feasibility study in March this year, which goes to show that what we believe is one of the best undeveloped gold projects in the goldfields. We've got the right people on the register to fund the project into production. We've completed our resource update that will underpin our DFS that will allow us to achieve a 1 million ounce reserve when we go into our DFS study in March next year. We made the key management appointments, as I said, of people who know how to run the operation and get it into production. And now we're focusing on doing our definitive feasibility study and getting the environmental permitting sorted. And there is no better place to build a gold mine. 40 kilometres north of Kalgoorlia, tier 1 mining jurisdiction, mining friendly environment, locally based workforce and close to road, rail, power and various sorts of infrastructure. It really does give us the ability to be able to set this project up right and get it up and running quickly. And until 2018, this was a series of projects that was in dire need of consolidation. And it took the team the ex-team of Pilbara Minerals to come to the Furor and really make that happen. They acquired the Aphrodite Gold Project in what was about 2017. They then released about a 1.3 million ounce resource and merged the company with Excelsior Gold, who at the time were doing their own PFS study on the Excelsior Gold Project. So that brought together two companies with a combined resource at the time of about 2.5 million ounces in a tier 1 mining jurisdiction, and really both two companies who were doing their own pre-feasibility studies but didn't have the scalability in their own right to justify a standalone processing plant. Bringing the projects together really allowed the company to take a strategic look at this operation, not only from a project development point of view, but also an exploration point of view. I joined the company at the start of 2019, tasked with running the pre-feasibility study. Since then, we've expanded that 2.5 million ounce resource out to over 3 million ounces. We have released our pre-feasibility study that shows we'll produce 135,000 ounces a year. And we've made a number of low-cost and strategic acquisitions that have built our footprint within the region that will allow us to make what is the next discovery that will continue to add in to what is already an exciting project. Over an 8-year mine life, we're targeting about 1 million ounces of production. Of that production profile, over 800,000 ounces is in indicated resources already. That really does give us a high confidence mine plan and allow us to look at what a debt funding component for this project will look like. The project will support anywhere up to about 70% debt. We want to target that sweet spot between 60 to 65% debt to equity. We've already got a debt advisor on board who's been working with the company before we release the pre-feasibility study. We know where we stand and we know where the benefits are, talking to banks early and being able to get this project financed and ready for the start of next year. It's a simple processing flow sheet, standard SAG ball mill configuration with the CIL tanks for the free milling ore and a flotation circuit for the sulphide ore. About 50% of our gold will be produced as gold bars and the other 50% will be produced as a concentrate. The Aphrodite project will be the source of the concentrate, and the benefit of the ore body is it is a pyrite arsenopyrite blended ore. It has very low deleterious elements, it's in significant demand, and we have a strong understanding of the gold concentrate market. We went out to over 25 different groups for requests for offtake proposals. Since then, we've whittled that down to a further 16. We then did another second qualitative and quantitative analysis of a further 8 groups, and we are now talking in detail with them, and we expect to have that final offtake signed in either late November, early December of this year. And when we look at the terms of those offtake arrangements, they're anywhere from a 3 to 5% improvement of what we've seen in our pre-feasibility study. And when we look at current Australian gold prices of northwards of $2,600 an ounce, the project has a post-tax NPV approaching $500 million, and we consider our enterprise value now is less than $100 million. It is a fantastic investment. Over the life of the project, we expect it to generate somewhere in the vicinity of about $1 billion cash before tax. So this is really one of the best undeveloped gold projects out there. And there's lots of room for us to grow. We've got 420,000 ounces open pit reserve, and recent optimisations at Zoroastrian really do show that we have the ability to add anywhere from an extra 30 to 50,000 ounces here, and we're furiously infill drilling that now. We've got the Aphrodite project, which does show there's immense opportunity to continue to expand upon that resource, as well as do some exploration out this project, because it really has had very little regional exploration since the mid-90s when it was initially discovered. With the underground mining, we've got over 370,000 ounces of mining reserve. Zoroastrian's got a modest reserve of about 80,000 ounces, but in our last resource update, we added over 45,000 ounces of indicated resource to the Zoroastrian resource model. And that's all within that mining area you see here on the plan. That will significantly add to our reserve at Zoroastrian, which is probably one of our best producing and lowest cost, all-in cost per ounce operations. The Aphrodite project has got 290,000 ounces of reserve, and this thing is still growing. It is open at depth, it's open along strike. There's multiple lodes here that can continue to add to the resource that really will continue to drill these out, more so when we start mining. We've already got 5 to 6 years worth of mine life here at Aphrodite, and I've got no doubt at the end of those 5 to 6 years, we'll still be mining for another 5 to 10. Our implementation plan is straightforward. We've got our DFS study that's due out March quarter of this year, and environmental permitting shouldn't be too far behind. There's been previous mining activities already in the Zoroastrian and Excelsior complex. And then when we look at the Aphrodite area, although it's a greenfield project area, we've already completed the flora, fauna, native title arrangements and the like. So we do see the ability to be able to fast track the approvals. And when you're talking about the Kalgoorlia mining region, generally once you submit your mining proposal, it's a 3 to 6 month turnaround for your approvals. With the debt financing, we expect to have the final term sheets in place by around June of next year, and that'll really put us in a good position to make that final investment decision. That'll lead into project construction commencing in September quarter, and then 12 months later, after a 12-month construction build of the plant, we'll start our first gold pour. Now, one of the things we talk about is how good this project is, but how good can it be on top of that? North Kanowna Star is a project we acquired towards the back end of last year. We did some drilling to the south here where we have a small 35,000 ounce resource, and we realised that this was a much more significant area than what we first thought. We drilled 11 holes in that program last year. Each of the 11 holes were hit 40 to 60 metres of continuous alteration. We then did a geophysical survey over the area that highlighted that there was these new trends to the north. We thought, well, let's take a punt and we'll go out and we'll drill these. And we drilled 2.5 kilometres along that mineralised trend, and we had some significant results, 21 metres, 1.56, and 15 metres at 1.2. And this has really highlighted 4 to 5 key prospect areas that we believe can significantly add to reserves. Now, when we start looking at the scale of this opportunity here at North Kanowna Star, and we compare it to the Zoroastrian corridor, they're very similar in scale. Here at the Zoroastrian corridor, we already have approaching 1 million ounces of total mineral endowment. So that shows how significant this project area can become. We've got $5 million allocated in exploration to this and many other projects across our tenure, targeting greenfields discoveries of plus 100,000 ounce discoveries. And we think there's significant opportunity for that to occur, not only here at North Kanowna Star, but also at Aphrodite, Mayday, as well as a greater Bardoc tectonic zone. And the Zoroastrian area again, look, every time we drill at Zoroastrian, it just gets better. We've already got around 100,000 ounces of reserve here in the southern portion of the deposit. Now, if you start having a look at the latest resource update where I've said we'd probably add an additional 45 to that, when we start looking to the north, there's a significant cutback on the open pit that could potentially add anywhere from 30 to 50, and we thought we'd test the potential for the underground, but not below that. The first hole we drilled hit 11 metres at 4.5, including a high-grade core of 6 metres at 6.8. We then hit 89 metres at 1.5 grams and another 11 metres at 3.8. And what's coming together here is a new north plunging high-grade zone to below the northern end of that open pit that is untested and provides opportunity well beyond the current mine life we have here at Zoroastrian. So a bit of a summary. Look, there's no better place to build a gold mine than Kalgoorlia. We're in a tier 1 mining jurisdiction. I may be biased because I lived there for 17, 18 years, but it really is a phenomenal place to be able to build a gold plant. We've got a large and growing resource base with 3 million ounces of resource, with both greenfields and brownfields opportunities to really expand upon that and continue to grow the mine life well beyond the current 8-year plan. With 800,000 ounces of mining reserve, and we'll look to push that past 1 million ounces as part of our definitive feasibility study that'll be due in the March quarter next year. And when you consider there's very few gold developers planning on producing over 100,000 ounces per annum coming into the market, and when you look at the peak production period here at the Bardoc project will be a 5-year period producing 150,000 ounces a year. That'll be a significant project in anyone's language. And we've got a strong board and management team to really get this thing into production. With a team from Pilbara Minerals who know how to get projects financed and into operation, as well as the rest of the executive team with an immense amount of experience mining in Kalgoorlia, who know the area well. I think we've got all the key ingredients here at Bardoc to really make a successful project and a successful company. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Rob. Just a quick question. We had 2 questions. You answered one, was when you're likely to have a concentrate agreement, but I think you said late November, early December, an offtake agreement. And the second question, which was put to us, was how much cash flow do you expect the company to generate once you're in full production?
A great question. And once we're in full production, when you consider that over the life of the project, it's going to produce over $1 billion of free cash flow, it'll be well in excess of $100 million a year. So yeah, it's going to be a fantastic project.
So not much less than your current market cap in 1 year?
Correct.
Right. Thanks very much, Rob.